Music, it makes moments for all of us, right? The moment you first heard that song, the moment you saw them live, the moment you just knew. Music makes moments, but it's also made from moments. Moment You Made It is a show that seeks to find those moments for those artists, creators, and business professionals alike who make music into the moments that you remember. Moment You Made It is a podcast hosted by three creatives from the live music capital of the world. Director of the Texas Music Office, Brendan Anthony, singer-songwriter Fred Andrews, and executive director of the Austin Music Movement, Nick Shuley. Moment You Made It seeks to document the most compelling conversations with people that make those musical moments.
Hit it.
I believe we're recording.
So Fred, this weekend I ran into you, and you'd come back from playing this incredible show out in Montgomery. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And does Neil McCoy still have the shake?
He still has the shake.
He still got it.
Filipino country singer that just rocks it, man. This guy still looks like he came right out of 1990. I mean, he looks good, sounds good, and I guarantee there was not one mask worn out in Montgomery. It's like the virus never happened in Montgomery. I swear, it was called Mudbugs, Music and Mudbugs. Yeah.
Did he play? Did he play Wink? That was him, wasn't it? Wasn't he? All she got to do is just to give me that wink.
Oh yeah. Wink, the shake. Yeah, it was the songs. 100%, Nick. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I was telling Fred this. We met up at a good friend, Turi Cannon. Hello, Turi, just turned 50, and a lot of old hilarity was had. I learned something from a discussion that he and his wife had during kind of a toast moment that I can never unlearn, but I'll just leave it there. It's pretty.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
And it was pretty funny stuff.
Let's not get into it so we can keep this recording.
Yeah. So apparently the timetable gets a little lengthened. That's all I'll say. But it is hysterical stuff. But I was struck by the fact that Neil's still out there playing like this kind of music that, we talked to Tristan Mars about, like, it's still so popular. And, Fred went out and was the opening act there. And I was telling him a story back in the day when I was playing with Pat Green's band. We ran into Neil at some, it must have been like some country music expo type thing. They have these all over the country. It's a massive field in the middle of Wisconsin or North Dakota, you pick it. And all the artists have their buses in the back, and it's just an all day free for all kind of thing. They were a lot of fun. I mean, but Neil McCoy was one of the guests, and he invited us up on the bus before, he went and played the shake for everybody. And he had an older Prevost bus, and that's the bus you see rolling down the highway all the time, if you're not familiar. But he ripped out all the couches, and he had replaced them all with Lazy Boy recliners. And so he had like 3 Lazy Boy recliners in his tour bus, and he and his old dudes were just in there kicked back like they were sitting in their living rooms at home. It was awesome.
I remember you telling me this story before I gave you the Irish goodbye.
Yeah, before we turned around, and I was like, "Hey, Fred, did you hear that story?" And you were gone.
Yeah. I was gone.
Solid. Yeah. It's always a good move.
It is.
I had to. I sent everybody home, and then Ann was like, you coming home too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." Well,
those cannon parties, man, you got to be careful. Well, listen, we talked to a really great artist this week, and I got to say, Sonny Sweeney has been, out there doing this for years now really well. But what's really cool about Sonny, which she talks about it a little bit in our talk, is that she's done it her own way. There's a really wide lane called Texas country music that a lot of people drive down in their careers. And I'm not saying it's easy, but there are avenues for it, right? There are radio stations. There were, when she was starting out, radio stations that played it when you couldn't get on mainstream radio. There were managers who would manage you, that kind of stuff. Sonny didn't exactly gravitate towards that lane exactly. And it's really cool. She's made these great records with really good producers, and they're country. They're not the Texas country version of country. They're really great country records, and she sings the hell out of them. And she does it her own way. It's really fun. And the sense I got when I talked to her is there's no other way that was ever going to happen. She's as independent and brand aware, if you will, an artist as you're ever going to find. And she's super sharp. She knows her craft.
But she started, she did start. She got a good deal. Who'd she sign with?
I can't remember. I know she goes into it when we talk. Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Something you have to listen to later. That's called a tease.
Exactly.
Nice. And Fred's going to listen to remember it.
For sure. But so she started off going down that road. I just don't think it was the right road for her that she wanted to go. And she likes to write. She likes to sing her own style of music. But man, she has such a sweet voice, and it is country. It is country, and I really, really dig it. I had a fun going through her catalog and listening before we talked to her.
Oh man, it was great. And Sonny is not afraid to say what she thinks. I mean,
not at all.
No, she's
that
great.
is just that's such a great quality in an authentic artist. And I had a blast talking to her. I know y'all did, because we were all laughing at a lot of points during this thing. But yeah, she is just absolutely not afraid to be Sonny, and that's really refreshing and authentic.
That's why she has such a big following. That's why people go see her, and that's why she sells records. Is because her personality. I mean, it comes out on the records. You listen to it, you're like, oh crap, that's Sonny. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember sitting. I think we brought it up in this thing, or maybe we didn't. If we didn't, we should have. I remember sitting in a fundraiser, and she played this song about how this character in her song had been carrying on with a man, and that everybody else knew it, and it was the most uncomfortable I'd ever heard a big fundraiser crowd like that ever. And she loved it. You could tell she loved every second of it up there. I've been a fan. I was a fan long before that, but will always be after that. Awesome. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We love talking to Sonny Sweeney. She's got great music out there. Go check her out if you hadn't heard, but we'll get to hear a little bit of that and have a great talk with her. Hope you enjoy.
Okay. I think I got it.
Can you hear us?
Okay. So what happened is my computer took a complete shit on me about 2 weeks ago. And my manager thinks that I'm too stupid to figure out how to order my own. So they've ordered one for me, but now we don't know where it is. So I'm like, if there's one thing I can do, it's online shopping. Okay.
That was first capability.
I can figure out how to order a computer. Okay. Okay.
Well, now you don't have to.
Oh, I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. One of the weird things about getting the whole shutdown thing is, I get really used to seeing friends, out at the shows or songwriting things, and I really take it for granted. And it's really, really bad right now not to see buddies.
I know. I called my manager the other day because we played 2 gigs last weekend for the first time. They were good gigs. They were in Colorado, and of course that's fun. But I was like, I'm never ever gonna take anything for granted again. He's like,
yeah.
We all say that. And the second things open up, we're all just gonna be like, whatever, let's just go back to normal and get.
No, I'm literally, I was about to cry, and there was a bunch of people at that gig too, and they respected it and sat down how they were supposed to. And
where'd you play?
Fort Collins and
Aggie Theater or something, or?
No, Fort Collins was called Sundance Saloon.
Nice.
And it was awesome. I was actually shocked at how awesome it was, and they were super respectful, and they sat down and I don't prefer people to sit down. It's like playing at Billy Bob's, but
the worst.
The worst.
So tough.
Normally I would be like, God, it's like playing at a cemetery, but this is great when they're doing it because they have to, and they were respecting it. And then we played in what was the second town we played in? Grand Junction.
Pretty places.
Yeah.
Nice to be up there.
Yeah, it was really nice, and my guitar player really was happy to be there.
Is Harley still playing with you? Who's playing with you? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Harley Husbands.
Oh yeah.
That's
Charlie
it. That's
Cousins. Huh?
he's a book unto himself, isn't he?
He is. That is a good way to put it. He is a book unto himself.
A lot of chapters there.
Lots of chapters. Lots to unpack there.
I like that dude.
I do too. He's one of my best friends.
Nice.
Fort Collins is actually kind of a cool spot. I went up there, and they're working
cool.
really hard to turn it into a music town, and they have the music district. It's cool. I was impressed.
Working. It's totally working. And the fans, it's weird when you go, y'all all know, traveling like to BFE somewhere where like, you know, that's like the to-do, that, you know, the small towns where like, that's the to-do. There's a lot of talking a lot of times. And like, you're just like, why am I even here? But also that's like their to-do. So like, I'm super grateful for that too, but I'm not going to lie when I say I am real happy when there's actually like music people there that are like listeners and they're there to see music and there's not like one asshole ruining it for everyone. You know what I mean?
I do.
That never happens. Kidding.
Never.
They buy a lot of merchandise at those kind of places too.
Oh yeah.
They just love it.
Yeah.
And they feel like it's their duty to support you. It's kind of cool if someone sets that up. There's a place in Myrtle Beach that has a little listening place. There's like 110 people and everyone buys a record. Everyone buys
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's literally the best. Like some of the smaller gigs that I've played, I actually make more in merch than I do at like arena gigs. And I'm not kidding. Like I'm really not kidding.
For sure.
Bring the merch.
Yeah.
Especially at Billy Bob's when they take 29% or whatever they pay. It's like, what?
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you buy this? Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks for designing it.
Yeah, really. I know.
Glad I can make money off of you.
I think it's.
If my dog starts barfing, I'm really sorry.
I saw Doug back there. How's he doing?
Well, he's gagging. I don't know where he is, but I hear him making little noises. So.
Well, we could edit the gag out. So.
Okay, good.
Usually that's Fred. We've got a filter for it.
Yeah,
we edit Fred out.
Gag filter.
So.
I didn't drink any last night. I feel pretty good. All right.
I didn't either. I slept for like 11 hours. I'm not even kidding.
So do y'all feel good or do you feel weird?
Yeah.
Fred,
I feel weird.
I feel great. I definitely drank. Anytime I'm in a bad mood, you know I didn't drink the night before, so.
Maybe that was my problem.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I want to go back to something you just said because I think it's really funny. There are two schools of, I've known you for a long time. I've loved your music for a long time. And I was just texting you this morning about getting to go back and listen to your records because honestly, you know, you kind of file things away and you compartmentalize. You're like, oh, I know her music. I know her stuff. I know his stuff. It's in there. But when you go back and listen to it, discovering it all over again is really fun. And listening to your records back, I was struck by a couple things that I'll get to. I thought you just said something really kind of funny, though, that made me think. You said there's a neat environment when you can sit down and play your songs in front of a room that's really going to give it a listen. And I remember standing up with Pat one night, and we were standing in front of a room like that, and we were halfway through the song, and no one was talking. And he leaned around to me and goes, "Are we plugged in? Are the speakers on? Yeah. Can they hear what's happening?" I think it's funny how different environments get created with music that's similar. It's on the same spectrum, but it's very different. And that's kind of where I wanted to start chatting with you because I've known your music and I've known you for a long time. We've kind of been around the same circles of stuff going on in Austin and even Nashville for a brief minute or two for us. But there was a school of musicians and creators around, let's say, Lloyd Maines and his world that was happening. And a lot of records and singer-songwriters were going through there, and they were kind of tailored to one sort of crowd. And then there was this really interesting scene around Tommy Dedamore and his crew as well, and the folks who would play that kind of music. And I always thought it was so interesting that we were in the same kind of rooms on the same sort of spectrum, and one group was making this newish sort of college country thing, and then the one group was staying so in their own unique way true to this sort of country honky-tonk sort of thing. And I'd put you firmly in the latter group, making records.
I honestly think that there's a need for both of those types of music too. Like, just because I don't fall in the other category, I feel like I have over the years found fans that only know me because I opened for Pat Green or because I opened for whoever, and like I'm not in that scene necessarily, I guess, but like I play with those guys. Randy Rogers is one of my oldest friends in this business. Like I went to college with him, and his favorite story is about which I wish he would quit telling this, and I'd like to get the record straight.
Please do, right here.
He slid in next to me and my girlfriends in a big theater seat at Southwest, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Randall. I've got a gig tonight. Do you want to come?" And we're like, no, we don't. But then we did, of course, and then we became friends, and like we've been friends ever since. That was like, you know, one of the first days at Southwest that I went there.
So that at the Parrot? That was at the Green Parrot, wasn't it?
No,
the big seats. No,
I think it was Cheatham.
Oh, Cheatham's.
Yeah,
okay.
See, Fred, some of these folks started playing in classy joints. I gotta break it to you.
Not me. Not me.
There's nothing classy about it. Yeah.
I played at the Carousel Lounge in Austin, and
Yes,
you
you
know,
did.
there's, you know, I love every minute. I wouldn't change a second of it. But I mean, there were times where I was not real comfortable. But anyway, so I got in a car wreck. Randy and I became really good friends, and then I got in a car wreck in college that was pretty bad, and I hurt my neck pretty bad. And I had to wear one of those, you know, things on my neck for a long time. Well, I had a handicap sticker because my backpack was so heavy that like I couldn't literally carry it. And so I had to like meet my teacher at the old main building at Southwest, and he would literally carry my backpack up there. Well, Randy saw this one day and goes, "How'd you get the handicap sticker?" as I'm wearing a neck brace. And I was like,
never ride.
Well, I got in a car wreck. I mean, that's how it's terrible, you know? And so he's like, "Can you start picking me up for school? How long does that last?" So I made him pick me up from school, but I mean, he made me pick him up for school. But the thing is, he only tells the part that I had this handicap sticker and like got free parking. I'm like, "Randy, you at least need to elaborate and tell people that I'm not that big of an asshole." Like I was hurt. I
kind of had to work for it, right?
You weren't working.
I've got one leg shorter than the other.
I mean, I was literally like injured. I mean, I really couldn't lift anything. And he's like, anyway, so that's the true story. I did have the sticker, but anyway.
Don't you think?
I call it Southwest also, but it is Texas State now.
I always will call it Southwest. I graduated from Southwest.
Yeah,
I did too.
People have been
in
around.
'96.
It's Southwest.
Yeah, they called me after I graduated, you know, and were like, "Do you want a new diploma?" And I was like, "No, I don't even use the one I have." But I don't even know where it is. I need to find it. I do have a diploma. I just don't know where it is.
I'm sure.
What degree was it in?
Public relations.
Nice.
Communications, something.
Yeah. Mine's
in public relations. I'm publicly relating right now. Okay.
I got my teacher certificate from Southwest. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I taught for a couple of years. It was here in Austin. It was tough.
I was going to say, bless your heart. That's what my mom did too when I was growing up. And she said, you know, that's the hardest job that there is teaching. Like she loved it, but like it is work. It is definitely work.
Especially after coming from a gig, you get home at 3 and have to be at school at 7. It's tough.
Oh, Shine, think about that.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, the reason I got off on that tangent about Randy is that there were a lot of people like those guys, like Randy Rogers, Kevin Fowler, Jason Boland. Those guys always had me play shows with them. And I know firmly that there are people that know me strictly because of those guys, you know, asking me to play with them. So, but then again, I was also doing like little, you know, like bars, like Roadhouse bars too on the side of the road. Like that's like I love that. You know, that's where my heart is. Those were the best days of my life, you know, honestly.
Well, I think there's something to be said, and that's the point I'm kind of trying to make. Is I really love staying in Texas, and while I was playing, one thing I really loved and made a note of was that, you know, I could stay and play in Texas and play these different kinds of things. You know, there was not one thing that worked, and you better do it or you're going to get left out of the pipeline. Right. And yeah, there's room on the spectrum for all of that stuff, and people in Texas, you know, at Green Hall, for example. It's a pretty good sum up of the kind of music you're going to hear. You know, there's going to be a Two Tons, and then there's going to be a Randy, and then there's going to be a Sonny, and I mean, all incredible music getting played for, you know, some fans that really authentically love it. And that's why I think it's a neat place to come up and play music. I mean, I wonder, what led you to have that ear for that kind of music? I know, and I have to say, because we've talked about this back in the day, like you're Longview, and I've developed a new appreciation for Longview because I married into a family from Gladewater, and and it's been this really incredible learning experience.
Oh yeah.
About East
when
Texas.
she drinks, does her accent get worse?
Oh yeah, and her
It 100% does.
Oh yeah, and her dad's, man. I mean, I see where it comes from, and so that's kind of why I'm asking. Like, where did you get? Was this a thing you heard from your folks?
The Jamboree.
Well, what'd you say, Fred?
The Jamboree, right?
The East Texas Jamboree. Yeah, my friend was the Jamboree queen. Come on now.
I played that a couple times. The Jamboree.
I'm just saying we come by this stuff honest.
Not the Jamboree.
No.
The Jamboree.
It's a soft J. like
solid
yogging.
branding. Solid branding.
Okay.
Sweet potatoes.
I mean, clearly I grew up, East Texas, and I'm a loud and proud East Texan through and through. It's way too early for me to have eyeliner on now to prove that to y'all, but typically speaking, my mother's going to kill me if she knows that I'm doing this without eyeliner, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, we had a station there called KYKX, and it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's a country station, and they played like legit music, and mm-hmm. I remember having a jam box. I think we're all about the same age, so y'all probably remember that too, but like an actual jam box with like a tape in it, and you push record to record what you're hearing on the radio.
Absolutely.
So
yep. I still have some of those tapes in my garage.
I do too. And I had this vision of, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something in entertainment. I had no idea what it was, but like from a very young age, I always was like, I'm going to do something. This is way too cool I need to do this. I need to be part of it. So I remember calling the guy, which I can't remember his name, and making a request on KYKX to hear something. Who knows? Probably Merle Haggard or Vince Gill. Those were who I was obsessed with when I was young. And then when he played it, when he came back on the air, I hit record because I wanted to hear my voice, what I sounded like when I talked, like on the phone when it played over the radio. And then he goes, and here's Sonny Sweeney with, asking to hear a song, blah, 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 or whatever. And I remember hearing that and going like, holy shit, that could be me. Like if I could figure out how to do this, I could do that. And I remember thinking that when I was very, very young.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of always listened to country music, but then like my family especially listens to country, and my stepdad listens to bluegrass and, all this stuff. And then when I started singing, that's just kind of what came out, because that's just how I talk, I guess. And so I didn't know like what kind of music really. I figured it'd be country, but then when I started writing songs, they were country songs. And I was like, well, this works. I mean, I'm from East Texas. Like I'm not a rock singer. I mean, or a punk singer or something like. And so it just that's just how it worked out for me. And a lot of it, I think, is because of where I was raised. If you look at all the country singers that come out of there, it's just because that's how we talk probably. And, when you start singing, that's what happens, Yeah,
what kind of music do you expect me to play?
I mean,
this is all
when I lived in New York for 2 years, and they tried to, I took some acting. I was going to do acting too. I went through that whole thing. And one of my teachers was like, they do have classes where you can standardize your accent. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing that. I like how I sound. I'm sorry if you don't, but like, it's worked for hundreds and thousands of people before me. So
standardize your accent? I've never heard it put quite that way. Oh, for acting. Gotcha. I understand.
Yeah. Saying lose it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Standardize it instead of make me sound like a hillbilly. But you know what? I like how I sound. And
standardize.
We do too.
I thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I figured. I think there's a tremendous amount you draw on what you hear. We always, as kids, when we grow up, we're like, well, that was my parents' thing, and I'll do my own thing, and it'll be better. Obviously, of course, it'll be better.
Sure, of course.
It never really is, but you know, you grow up hearing those tunes and you kind of always come back to it. You know, I grew up in rural, you know, Texas, and yeah, I ended up playing playing the kind of music I do. It's just what happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you came to Austin and you had that background and you had that mindset, you know, I touched on this earlier about this sort of different music that was getting created around that time when you were there. You got to hang with, I mean, your scene seemed to be more, you know, Saxon, you know, Red Vocart and his group, and you know, the song swap stuff y'all used to do. And yeah, you mentioned Carousel, like that is a proving ground. I still am super impressed that you put in Miles at Carousel and Egos.
Carousal.
Miles.
That is legit. That is
Oh,
legit.
and dude, what about, please don't forget the Poodle Dog. Played there every Sunday for 3 years.
How can I forget?
For like 4 hours every
What a
Sunday.
great place.
But that's
I've been here for 25 years. I've never heard of the Poodle Dog.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Oh my
I'm just
God.
saying that it's solid proving ground. I mean, that's taking real time to learn a ton of songs, learn how to play them, you know, and have people really probably give you some fairly open and honest feedback, especially the guys you were spending time with.
Totally.
You know, those are real people who've played with real people and
Yeah.
have real backgrounds in this thing, and having them have your back and at least some wind in your sails must have been a huge confidence boost. And that first record you made, you know, the first one you put out
Yeah.
with Tommy, I mean, that is a straight ahead, educated country honky tonk record.
Well, thank you. That was at the direction of him and Tom Lewis, and you know, basically I had been playing for very few years when I started making that record, and the only reason I even made a record was because people at shows that kept coming back that weren't my family were like, they were like, are you gonna ever like have anything to sell, like t-shirts or records? And I was like, no, I'm not. Like I still don't know what I'm doing, y'all. And I really didn't know what I was doing then, okay? And so enough people asked, and I was like, well, okay, how do you do this? Like, I've never done this, okay? So I went to a bank and I took out a loan and I made a record. And I found people that like really knew what they were, you know, that I trusted, that I'd known for a couple of years and watched them play the music that I like. And I was like, okay, here's the people I want to help me make a record. They obviously know how, I don't. So then when we made it and we had to print up the CDs, the first printing, they were like, well, okay, how many do you want to get? Do you want to get like 1,000? And I was like, 1,000? Hell no, I don't want to get 1,000.
Six or seven would be great.
I mean, I thought like maybe 100. Like, what are you talking about? No, I don't need 1,000. And I don't remember the girl's name, but she worked for Dave, you know, that
Crystal Clear or
Crystal Clear, was it? Had to be.
think so, yeah. And
David Koch or Cocké.
I think I know his name was David. I remember writing him and the girl that works for him and was like, I cannot get 1,000 records. Like, I cannot. And the girl wrote me back and she's like, okay, well, 1,000 is like not a lot. So you need to come up with the money to get 1,000. And she talked me into it. And I was kind of like stressed out. I'm broke. I'm literally got this loan to make this record. I'm like, whatever. I sold those in about 3 weeks. I am not exaggerating.
Nice.
And like, it was so eye-opening. And I'm not saying that like, oh, well, it's sold. But I mean, like, everyone that had ever come to the Poodle Dog or whatever, and plus all my family and all that. I mean, my family probably bought a good portion of them, but they were gone. And then I had to call her back and she just started laughing. And I wish I could remember her name, but she started laughing and she was like, I told you, you should have gotten more because you would got a better deal, you know, like, So it was very eye-opening and it made me realize that, like, I guess I thought maybe I was doing something right, and just to kind of stick with those people that I trusted. And so I played with a lot of those guys forever. And then like you mentioned Red and like Dallas Wayne and Billy Donahue and all those guys, like Billy played with Johnny Paycheck. Okay. And then like Red played with Merle and Tommy played with Mo Bandy and like all these guys that like music that I was obsessed with. There's guys that are in their bands at my disposal that are willing to help me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, having that, that's
what I
mean by having that sort of like road and real life education informing you about how to make the kind of music you've always sort of wanted to make. You got Johnny Cash's keyboard player saying, well,
Earl.
yeah, normally I'd drop that part in here. I'm like, well, do that. That makes total sense.
Like Earl Poolball, you know, I would go see Hay Bale after my show on Sunday. They used to play after us at Continental. So I would play on Sundays. And then everyone started at Jenny's Little Longhorn for Dale. Then they came to Poodle Dog. Then we all went to Continental Club. And it was like a
evolving deal
club, you know, like everybody went to all three. And Earl Poolball and I became friends, and he was Johnny Cash's piano player for 25 years, like you just mentioned. That man has got so many stories. I just cut my finger while I was talking to y'all.
Uh-oh.
Not your left hand, hopefully.
Well, yeah, but what happened is, look, my phone screen is cracked right here, and I just swiped it to make it stop, and the glass cut me.
So I'm going to call your manager and ask him to ship you a phone real quick.
I need a phone and I need my damn computer. So anyway, but like I would go eat with Earl afterwards at Magnolia Cafe right down the street. And you know, he had stories that like will blow your mind. This man was on the road with Johnny Cash for 25 years.
Oh yeah. He's got
and
like
I'm
a
just
doctorate.
sitting there like, why is he so sweet? And he's like so helpful. And like all these guys have just been so nice and so like helpful. I played Tuesdays with Red for a long time at Egos, and we split the night, and he would stay for my show and mortify us because we're like, can't you leave? Like, we don't want you to watch us play.
Yeah, that's a hard, like the Saxon Pub's the same way. Like there's so many good musicians. It's like, please, like, don't watch me play or listen to me sing.
I know. And you know what's so weird is that now, like years later, I can play in front of 20,000 people and I don't even get nervous. Like I feel like I have something wrong with me because I don't get nervous.
Right.
But in the Saxon Pub, I am like a wreck.
Mortified. I mean,
a wreck. I mean, a legitimate wreck. I am a wreck. Right, sweaty. My back is sweaty. My neck is sweaty. But like, there's 20,000 people in front of me, and I'm like, I mean, like, it doesn't even faze me. I mean,
David Grissom says he's going to stay and watch your set, and you're like, thanks. I'd rather you didn't.
Please don't.
Appreciate it.
Get on out of here.
But Sonny, we gotta go back to what's the best Johnny Cash story you heard from him? I gotta hear one of these.
Some I'm probably not gonna be able to repeat, but he just said that he was so kind to him. You know, and you know, there's a lot of people. Okay, Earl is very open and honest, and I trust him infinitely. And he said, I remember him saying it comes from the top. You know, like if you treat people kindly that work for you, they're going to want to stay. And if you don't, then they're going to peace out. So it's your option. But he said that he was always so nice and that, you know, he was really like funny and they were friends, you know, like they were on the road together. I'm imagining that like my band, you know, Harley's played with me for 5 years and like there's inside jokes that me and him have that like nobody else would think was funny, but me and him will think are is hysterical, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, I can't imagine 25 years of that, you know? Where you're actually friends with people. You're not just like a paycheck, or you're not just, you know, hey, you got to go to work on Wednesday. You know, like we all look forward to it. I'm texting with my guys like, holy shit, I'm so ready to go back on the road. Like I cannot stand this. It's making me sick. I'm so sorry. And I know they're all bored out of their minds, but I mean, sucks. This sucks.
Top down. It does. It's brutal.
Sucks.
Well, let me jump around just a little bit because I think, you know, you're in a really unique position to shed a lot of light for folks who may be familiar with your career but not all the intricacies of it. And then for folks who are, you know, looking to have a career the same way, you know, you said as a kid, you know, this is really something I want to do. And well, maybe we can educate some folks about what that really means. I mean, from first hearing yourself on the radio on a callback repeat from a DJ, you know, to making that record with Tommy and that group that made that wonderful record. I mean, the jump from a record like that made independently to sell to family and friends who were coming to shows to interfacing with arguably one of the biggest pop country record labels that's ever existed, you know, Big Machine, is a huge jump. And then,
well, that's also a whole other story too. Like, I don't know if you know what really happened, but
no. That's what I'm asking. That
Let's
big
find
jump
out.
between making that independent record, which they re-released. I mean, I remember when that happened. They re-released that record, maybe repackaged
yeah, they
it
changed
slightly,
the
but
font. Like, they changed the font on the color, which I'm kind of glad now, because I remember being like pissed about it at the time, which now, I mean, I so choose my battles more wisely, but you know, that was 175 years ago. But how that happened was, this was during MySpace days, okay? And I had met Jim Lauderdale, and I am obsessed with him.
he sang on your record.
He did, yeah.
It's incredible.
I met him and we just hit it off. Like, I've always been his fan since I was a child. I just think he's wonderful. And when I met him through Tom Lewis, Tom hooked it up for Jim to sing on my first record. And anyway, I had never played in Nashville when that record came out. I'd only been playing in Texas and, you know, Louisiana and, you know, whatever, like right around here. And Tom set up for me to go play at the Billy Block show or whatever.
Yes.
So,
The basement, was it? No, it's
Exit In.
Exit In. That's
Exit
right.
In. Yeah, it was at the Exit In. And so on MySpace, I get this message and it's like, hey, I got a copy of your advance record. And I'm thinking, how? I mean, who are you? Like, whatever. And he said, I'm Scott. I own a record label in Nashville, blah, blah, named Big Machine. And I knew, I've known Jack Ingram since I was 15. And so I knew that he was on that record label. So I reached out to him and was like, what do you know about this? And he was like, I mean, it's a new label starting, blah, 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 you know. So I wrote this guy back and I was like, cool. I mean, I don't know anything about you. I'm just kind of doing my thing. But like, if you want to come to a show, like I think we're playing in Nashville, like in a couple months or something. And so he came to that record or that show. And I had kind of made a deal with myself that, like, you know, I've done this my whole career with music, but like, if by so-and-so date, this doesn't happen, I'm quitting. Or if by so-and-so date, this doesn't happen, I'm out of here. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's too hard. It's too heartbreaking. It's all of these things. And so I said, if by my birthday, which is in December, I go, by my birthday, I don't have like, you know, some kind of like a, you know, record deal or something, I'm out of here. Like, I can't do this anymore. And so this was in November, and he shows up at this gig, still have no idea. I don't even know who this guy is. Like, I don't know how he got this record. And he shows up and sends me another MySpace message afterwards. Didn't stay till I was done. He just watched a couple songs and then left, I guess. And then sends me another message and goes, you want a record deal? And I was like, what does this guy want? Like, what does this guy want? Because he ain't getting it. Like, you know, like I was thinking like, but anyway, it was legit. And so, you know, granted, I'm grateful for that time that I spent there. But I was there 6 or 7 years with only one record. So I feel like part of that was a learning time for me. And I wrote a ton of songs during that time to develop myself, or whatever the term is. But honestly, I feel like I can now in the year 2020 say I'm still grateful for it. There are hundreds of thousands of people that know who I am because of my time there, you know, that wouldn't know who I was otherwise. And they did re-release a record that I made. They didn't change anything musically. They just put it out, you know, and changed the font color, whatever.
Did they pay you for it?
That was a license deal, and I think I did get like a tiny advance for it, but nothing to write home about, or something.
So they made most so they made most use of your time after re-releasing that record. Like you said, development. So that was during the days, and I don't want to sound like bygones or whatever, but that was kind of during the days when a record label could take the time to invest in an artist and really sort of put him into the songwriting scene and kind of figure out what they were going to be, right?
Yeah,
because
sure.
they call it an 8 to 10 year town or whatever, but if you take the time
150-year town, but yeah.
Sure, sure. But you hear stories of overnight success that have been cultivated for 7, 8 years, and that's when they learn their songwriting, what they're really going to be.
Right.
And so you took 6+ years on that label to learn the songwriting world that they wanted you to learn. I mean, is that fairly accurate?
I think so, but also from that time, because I can always find something positive. It pisses people off around me all the time, but like I can always find something positive in something really bad, because otherwise, what are you doing? I mean,
it's a life skill.
I know. And so I met my best friend in the world through all that, Joanna, that sings with me, the little blonde. I don't know if y'all have ever, on big shows, it's the girl that's standing to my left. She's like my best friend in the entire universe that I've ever could have found, ever, no matter what. And I would have found her even without, living in Nashville and all that, but I would have found her because we were destined to be friends. But like, I got her out of it, and I met some of the best songwriters in literally the world that I've gotten to write songs with, Grammy winning songwriters and people that I respect, most importantly, and it was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. So, and I don't think anyone would turn it down. That's the whole thing. I had plenty of backlash from signing a major record label, where people were like, I can't believe that she would do that. And I'm like, you would do it.
In a heartbeat.
You would do it.
That is
in a heartbeat.
That is so interesting to me. I mean, I've had this conversation endless times with folks. I was part of an organization that faced a lot of that backlash by signing on to a, and there was a shift, because we talked about Randy earlier, and we've spoken to some folks who are coming up in sort of a newer generation too, and remind me tomorrow. It wants me to update. So the shift that happened is now someone can go start early on in their process, writing in Nashville, exploring publishing deals, possibly getting a record deal, and face absolutely no commentary about it in Texas, regionally.
Right.
And it's interesting that you were part of a group that, God forbid you go sign with something that might be seen as illegitimate somewhere else.
But also, I feel like a lot of times that the people that were just doing that were just kind of talking heads, and they actually probably hadn't listened to my record. Right. Yes, my record that I made with Big Machine is definitely slicker than anything else I've ever made, but it also is really good.
It's really
I'm proud to say that it's really good. I don't have any problem judging my music as a fan. You know what I mean? I'm not attached. I'm attached to songs emotionally, of course, but I'm not judging it like that. I'm like, wow, if I listened to this and this was Brendan Anthony singing instead, I'd be like, damn, this is a good song. Or this is a well-written song, and also it had, radio success, it did. And I cannot ever deny the things that has done for me over the years. I will never, ever not be grateful for that, and, our time ended and I went back to being indie, which is where my heart is. And, we just made a live record that we did during quarantine. And then we went and got Tommy Dedamore to mix and master it. So it's
good circle.
It's a big circle. But then we got, we've already almost completed our new studio record too. So this quarantine time has been really good for us.
Productive, yeah.
And we got Paul Cawthon to produce it, and it is so badass. I'm so excited about it. I I know. I know.
Some good stories from those.
Oh no, I love it. I like the energy on it. I mean, that's fantastic. That's
I
a
am
whole
literally
different...
like cannot explain how excited I am about it.
That's
be awesome.
I love that.
Can I
I
ask
love
you a
that new
question?
energy coming out. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? You were saying how when you hear a song that you wrote, and you're like, "That's a good song." Now, is that a co-write or is that a song you wrote by yourself? Because I want to know how you feel about judging your own songwriting. I know if you write with a co-writer, you're like, "That's a kick-ass song," and you can tell yourself that.
That's a good question.
Do you give your own self credit too?
Honestly, so initially I started writing by myself. Like I only wrote by myself. And the co-writing thing was weird to me. Mm-hmm. And then I started co-writing, and now I'm so reliant on co-writers because what I've figured out, and it's only a personal thing for me, I will beat myself up if I'm writing by myself and be like, no, that sucks. You're terrible. You're the worst writer that's ever existed. Or, wow, Sonny, that's really good. I can't believe that came out of your little tiny pea brain. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so that's the question I'm trying to ask.
And so, but with a co-writer over the years, I have really narrowed down the group. I used to write with just, I'd have 8 writing appointments in a week sometimes when I was in those 6 years. Like I would just be writing all the time. I was living on cigarettes and coffee. Like I'm not joking. And,
sounds delicious.
I know. I
miss it.
I miss it too.
This got real sad real fast.
We're back, y'all. But now, like, there's a couple of people that I just consistently write with, and it's almost like one brain when we're together. And so I don't feel anything. If one of them, it's Buddy Owens and Galen Griffin, they're like my 2 brothers. And when we get together, we write really fast, and I feel like the songs are really good. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are. Some of them suck, but I mean, a lot of them are really good. And I have zero qualms about going like, wow, y'all, that is great. I want to put this on my record. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you that day if I want to put it on my record or not. Like if it just does a certain thing to me. But I think it's easier for me to do that if I co-wrote it, yes. Because otherwise I'm just going to pick it apart, and I can always change it a million times.
Right. Edit yourself to death. So you won't give yourself credit, basically. I mean, if it's a great song and you wrote it by yourself, you wouldn't necessarily say it's a great song. But if you write it with somebody else, you can deflect all of that praise to somebody else. So I mean, it's
sort of, yeah. I think that's a really good question. Yeah. I've never thought about it like that, but that's the same for anything too. Like you want approval, like you want,
of course,
you want like, I mean, when whoever I'm writing with and they go, hey, that's a great line. It's nice even from like a peer to have someone go, wow, that's really great. Or
we can work with this. This
sure.
This is a good little, Mark Addison here in Austin is that guy for me. And I can't write a song by myself to save my life. And
really?
I try to practice it, and I just get to a point, I'm like, well, I edit, and I get frustrated and I get mad. And the co-writing thing is key. That's awesome.
I was really scared of it at first, but now I'm kind of reliant on it. I feel like, I've been very fortunate to learn from some really cool people too about songwriting. And again, I didn't know, I repeat, still have no clue what I'm doing with anything in my life. But like 15, 18 years ago, I really, really, really had no idea. You know what I mean? So it's been a learning.
Well, that's progress.
And
Can't deny that. That's progress.
She still won't give herself credit. That's
right.
That's how humble you are.
I'm feeling a lot of that. Yeah, Fred, man, I like the way you're going, man. This is.
Well, the people. Okay, so you mentioned 2 guys that like your safe zone. When you're writing songs with, you feel like one brain, and you can open up to these guys. Because I mean, you can't. It's you said you had 8 appointments in 1 week with it's in a room. You both bring your guitars or a piano, and you sit there and look at each other, cross-eyed until something comes up. it's kind of hard. So, but who are your safe people? The guys that you'd say, all right, I can bring these guys a
I've
song?
got, Buddy Owens, Galen Griffin, Aaron Enderlin, trying to think of who I wrote these new songs. Heather Morgan,
Table Away was with
Bob DePiro, Karen Rochelle.
Not bad.
not a bad list.
Not a bad list there.
And then Radney Foster and Jay Clementi.
Ease.
Lori McKenna, I've been fortunate enough to write with. Natalie Hemby. There's like people that you're probably going to get a good song when you write with them. You know what I mean? And I've never been able to put my finger on what it is. Like, I don't know if it's just like a comfortable thing or like the less stress there is for me. Like, I am not good with stress. Like, I just want to hang. Do you know what I mean? And like, if we don't get a song, it's okay. Like, I like building friendships way more than I like writing songs, in the sense of, if we build a friendship and we don't make it awkward, and if this doesn't work, I'm not going to sit here with you for 4 hours, no matter how much I like you. Let's just go ahead and go, and then we'll try this again someday. Could be stress. Hell, I've gone through 2 divorces. What else do y'all want? Like, I've got enough stress in my life. I mean,
it's just music. It's like, there's only 12 notes, right?
Okay, I'm going to make a note at that point in the interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Divorces has getting divorced, it's obviously been some songs that you've gotten out of that. I mean, you look at the positive, like you just said. I mean, so you can definitely draw from that from writing songs. Have you written any songs about divorce?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I've based my career on it, Fred.
My therapist
told me one time, she was like, you know what? She's like, I think you put yourself in situations to be able to write. And I was like, I absolutely do not do that. Like, I hate turmoil so much. Like, it physically makes me sick. But I also make rash decisions sometimes that have led me down paths that I probably wouldn't have taken had I taken a little more time. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but anyway, I'm grateful for those times. Had I not been married to my first husband, I probably wouldn't have been in the music business. He really encouraged me to do it. My second husband got me my dog. I wouldn't have my little best friend if I hadn't have married him.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome. Well, kind of along those lines. Along those lines of people who came into your life and changed it and affected it. I mean, has there been, as far as your career goes, were there any moments where someone popped in there and pushed you in a new direction or changed something for you, so it was like a major monumental moment? And
totally.
Those people. Totally.
I mean, different times in my life have had different people like that. And I feel like artists kind of evolve anyway. So, Tommy Dedamore was really helpful in some ways. Tom Lewis helped me meet people that I wouldn't have met. I don't know if y'all know Tom. He is a drummer. He played with the Wagoneers years and years ago, but he's been with Hay Bell for 20 something years. But he knows everyone, and he's like my big brother. He's always been really helpful to me. And then my time at Big Machine. I mean, I got a lot of, introductions that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise had I not been there. And then through the friends that I met while living in Nashville, it seems like everyone knows someone. And I'm a people person, even though I pretend I'm not and pretend that I just want to stay home. I'm a people person. I enjoy people. Quarantine has made me realize how much I enjoy people. Okay. Like, I am so bored at sitting at home. I've made friends with all my neighbors. I've never talked to them before. And now we're like best friends. Like, we drink wine together. I don't understand.
Every night.
That is not me, y'all, at all. Yeah. That is not me to hang out with my neighbors, but I do. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you just have to look for things. You have to look for people that I always try to help anyone I can. And so you have to look for the people helping people. And then those are the people you want to hang out with. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
This is probably the longest I think I've met you several times. This is the longest conversation I think I've ever had with you. And your personality just comes out. I mean, the East Texas, the bubbly, the people person, it comes out. And this is a joy. It really is.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. I have not had wine this morning. So, that usually will calm me down a little bit, but I am very excited. I'm happy that I get to do this every day. All this has done, this quarantine, all this has done is made me really re-love my job. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it's made me re-love it. I don't even know if re-love is a word, but
reset maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a love thing. Like, I've always loved it, but like, I love it on a totally different level now. You know, like my manager called me yesterday and he was like, hey, did you ever get a merch count? And I was like, Mike, I haven't had merch in my trailer since March. Like you came and got it. Remember? Like y'all got it and you took it to the office. Like all my merch is there. This is the first time that I've ever wanted to look at merch buckets.
Can't wait
I'll
to
come
get back
count
to
it.
business.
I literally was like, do you need me to come? Do you need me to come right now? Because I'll totally come and I will clean the merch buckets with Windex. What do you want me to do? Like, I will do anything I need to do right now to get back on the road.
There's
we're
so much
starting to be
good.
back on the road too, though, so that's good.
There's so much good that comes from, you know, getting to if this is the life that you chose. I mean, there's so much. It's tough, but there's so much good that comes from it. I mean, being in the van, going from place to place and leaving your home and all those things that we know come along with it. But when you either, choose to stop doing it for a while or circumstance, makes you stop doing it for a while. Like you look at, talk to Wade and, when he really had his, vocal issues and you look at the imposed shutdown we're all dealing with now. And, like I left a band I'd been in for a long time, several years ago. When you get to go back, when you get to go back and it's on your terms and it's the way you want to do it, there is an entirely new respect for the fact that you did get to do it and you're able to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And re-love, yeah, we can coin a term. I mean, that's like you really do realize what you missed about it and what was special about it and why you really love doing that. And yeah, I hope a lot of people come out of this feeling that way. It'd be really
I do too, because honestly, like, I mean, we're playing music, okay? We're not building rockets. We're not saving lives, maybe saving lives, depending on if your music saves somebody's life, but which I've heard that other people have, not mine, but I've heard that, I've read things where it says like, they're talking to someone and they're like, if I wouldn't have heard your song at that point, I was going to kill myself. You know what I mean? Like that is just not okay with me. Like it's just horrible.
Music makes life better in general.
Yeah, in any way, shape or form. But I told Harley last weekend we were playing that gig and I couldn't really hear him at one point. And after the song, he was like, "Can you hear me?" And I was like, "Nope." And he's like, "Are you going to tell him?" I was like, "Nope, I don't care. I'm so happy to be on stage. Like, I'll just play a little bit quieter and then I can hear you." You know what I mean? Like, I was playing so loud. He was playing maybe normal. So I just played a little quieter so that I could hear him. But I didn't even want to screw with the sound. Like, I didn't even care. Like, that's the sort of thing that, like, normally I would be, like, bitching and, I can't hear my vocals or whatever. I don't care. I'm so happy to be playing and, like, the fans that are there are so happy. Oh my God. They were beside themselves. I'm not even joking.
I can't believe you told a lead guitar player you can't hear him. That's the first rule. Don't ever
give into that.
Keep them right where you got them.
Yeah, you're too fucking loud. Turn down.
He's not though. He plays and he got a electric White Falcon the other day, and so he took that on our acoustic gig, and it was just a difference because normally we just play 2 acoustic guitars, but so it was a matter of me having enough of his electric in my monitor, and I just didn't care. I was like, I'll just play quieter. I can hear you on stage, like I can hear you. It's just a matter of my vocals blaring back at me and me not having enough of your electric, but that's okay. I'll adjust. And I'm here to tell y'all, I have never been one to adjust. I'm like,
No.
like this is like changing me for the better in that sense. And I miss my friends and I miss seeing people, and God, I do.
Two concepts.
What is your what's your normal touring? Sorry, Brendan. What's your normal tour?
Okay, go ahead.
Before pandemic, like how many shows a year do you play?
A lot. I don't know.
Like three a week probably, or something like that, or
oh no, like there's days where we play six.
So you're constantly touring now. Does that
I mean, we were gone like I think 275 days last year.
Oh my.
Yeah.
You're crushing.
That's why my marriages don't work out.
That's hard work too.
Marry a drummer. I mean, don't.
Not happening.
Never. So not drummer anyway. Maybe the keyboard player. They like cats.
I'm good. I've got my dog.
Yeah.
Well, let me.
So
let me
the
jump
question.
in for 1 second.
Let me just finish my thought, and then I'll get away. So when you're playing that much and you're playing the same songs over and over and over, when you go to the writing time or to get sparks or something, don't you just feel brain dead? Like, oh my God, how am I gonna? I've been playing the same damn songs for this long. How do I go find time to pick up my guitar on the day I'm off to write a song?
Well, I usually don't write on days off. I schedule weeks to write, and like I'll plan ahead, and I'm constantly on my phone writing notes, like writing ideas or lines or verses or something. And then whenever I go and write, because I very seldomly write if I'm on the road, very seldomly. I'm too tired. Yeah. I am so exhausted. And so I need like one good night's sleep before I go into like a week of, writing. And so that's usually how I do it personally. I've had people come on the road with me before and we write on the road, but like Buddy's been on the road with me before and we've written, and Monty Holmes has been on the road with me and we've written. But like, other than that, like I just prefer to not have to do anything else but commit to a couple of days of writing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to try to jam it all in, And
so you've done a little bit of writing over quarantine. Do you have a certain song you want to share? A quarantine song?
Well, I don't want to sing one that I wrote. I was going to sing one. I'll give you an option.
Okay.
Well, no, I won't. I want to do.
It's your choice. It's 100% your choice.
Who am I?
Request. I'm going to play what I'd
like. Get over it. I'm not giving you a choice. Hold on.
Just play whatever. Yeah. Play whatever.
I can't believe that my dog didn't vomit, to be honest. So.
Good old Doug. We'll reattach your finger and then we'll try it out here. My
dog yells and yelps, and then my kids come in and scream whenever I try to play guitar or sing a song. It's they hate it. I'm like, oh.
Do y'all know who Waylon Payne is?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So he's one of my really good friends, and he has a dog named Petey, and this dog, when you're writing and Waylon starts playing, Petey starts going, oh, 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 like in the middle of it. I'm not kidding. So, and then Waylon will go like, Petey, do you love daddy? And then Petey will just go, oh, like he loves his dad so much. It is adorable.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I was FaceTime writing with him last week, and he puts Petey up on the screen and starts making him do that. And my dog starts going bananas in the background, going like, oh my God, where is there another dog? Like, I thought I was the only dog in the situation here,
A little jealous.
I've been replaced.
Huh? He knows
But I've
better.
been replaced.
He knows better. Don't you, buddy? Buddy, Mama loves you.
Is that real Coke?
That's
Real Coca-Cola?
Coke Zero.
Oh, Coke
No, that
Zero.
can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love that can. That's
well,
my
so
it's new
speaking
Coke.
of that, we got rid of, all of us gave up Coke last year. Diet Coke was what we were all. Diet Coke, you weirdos. So Diet
Rough crowd.
Coca-Cola, we all gave it up for last February to 2018 to 2019. Did not have one Diet Coke.
Wow.
On February 9th, which was the day after our 1 year anniversary, I was like, y'all, I'm just gonna have one Coke. No, total downhill. I need to stop drinking this shit. It's so bad for me. Anyway, I'm gonna do a song called Poet's Prayer.
Oh, nice.
It's a song, I don't know, it's a song that I wanted to write for a really long time, about all of my friends in this music business. And then I wrote this with Buddy and Aaron Enderlin and Buddy Owens. And the idea came because one night, do y'all know who Ward Davis and Cody Jinks are?
Yep.
We were on tour together and they're my buddies. I just love them. And I realized that the only time I see them is at show, if we're playing together, because we all are doing the exact same thing all the time. And we all have the same management, and our management, we're all gone as much as I'm gone. So unless we cross paths, we're not going to see each other. So that was what this idea came from, was I was with them one night and I was just like, man, thinking I really miss them. It's not just saying that, I really actually miss them. So does that sound in tune to y'all? This new string sounds good enough. It's all right. Only time I see my friends is on the posters in the barroom wall. Only time I hear their voice is in a drunken late night hotel call. See, you're out in Houston, I'm gigging in LA. Maybe we'll cross paths one of these days. This business breaks your heart. It's a big old mean machine. It'll grind your bones to make your bread and then piss all over your dreams. That ain't why we do this. If it was, we wouldn't last long. No, we're all hooked on the power of a song. May our beds be soft, coffee strong and hot. May the angels of the blacktop keep our souls from getting lost. There's a patron saint of troubadours on the road from here to there. Watch over us, that's my 3-chord poet's prayer. This is where Harley's solo would be. There's gonna be some real hard nights at some holes in the wall. The next night you'll be on top of the world, the next morning you might fall. Things we miss back home are never lost on me. Kids growing up, funerals, anniversaries. I didn't choose this life, this traveling life chose me. I was born to be a gypsy, so that's what I'll always be. Have a good next show. Keep it between the lines. Know you're always in my heart and on my mind. May our beds be soft, coffee strong and hot. May the angels of the blacktop keep our souls from getting lost. There's a patron saint of troubadours on the road from here to there. Watch over us, that's my 3-chord poet's prayer.
Hey.
Woo!
That's
so
great.
out of tune. I'm so sorry.
Good.
That string is brand new.
That was awesome.
It was great.
Thank you for doing that. That was awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, really
Thanks.
appreciate you playing.
Thanks. Of course.
I really, really do thank you for coming to talk to us today. I look forward to seeing you out there again, friend. I'm, you've had such a, I mean, it's an interesting path you've taken, and an interesting place you are now. On the, with the management company you're with now, doing the things you're doing. It seems like you're in the right spot doing what you need to be doing, and it's really fun to see that. Yeah, it's really fun. So
I think that solidified that for me last year, honestly, when they called me, my manager called me and he was like, I hung up on him because he's like, do you want to go on tour with Bob Seger? And I was like, I'm not in the mood today, and hung up. Like I literally hung up on him. And then he called me, or he texted me back, and he was like, I guess that's a no. And I was like, dude, come on. Like, don't do this to me. I'm not in the mood today. I've got a lot of shit going on. He goes, Sonny, I'm serious. Bob Seger wants you to go on tour with him. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, Bob Seger, like Against the Wind, Bob Seger? So yeah, it was weird. It was totally weird. But I did get to tell him that. I got to tell Bob Seger.
I hung up on my manager when he proposed that I go out on tour with you. Just hope you know that, bud.
No, I got to tell him that he's the reason my mom said Bob is the reason that I have relationship problems, because she made me listen to Against the Wind on repeat when I was little. So I got to tell him that. And when I told him, he laughed his ass off. And then he stopped laughing, and he goes, are you serious? And I was like, oh, I'm dead serious. Like, my mom has always told me that. And then he started laughing all over again.
It's amazing. I just think, once you get to that point in your career that you get to do the things you want to do, and then extra amazing stuff like that comes your way. It's just, I mean, a lot of folks work their entire time in this biz and don't get to put that flag in the ground and say, I got to do this. And
that's what I will never, ever take for granted. Like that, honestly, like the travel and going to, 20 different countries in my life because of music. Are you joking? Like all I wanted was beer and burgers. Like that was it. That was all I wanted, was just to get like free beer and some occasional cheeseburgers. So it's like so much more than I ever expected or wanted. Like it's crazy.
Well, plenty of people would pay you for that. I mean, plenty of people would gladly just pay you in beer and burgers, but
they still do, Brendan.
Well, I think you've had your hands on the wheel for a while. It's been cool to watch. You get to make your own music. You've always made your own stuff, and it's been great to watch. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that. Like really, honestly.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Seriously, this was fun.
Yeah. Well, now I've got to go get my fake tooth put on. Because I had to get a crown, and then the dentist has now, this will be the third time that they've made the wrong crown. So
third time. So they're doing it for free.
I was like, what are y'all going to do for me? I need some like some kind of payback here. Am I going to get
stop drinking Cokes?
I'm serious.
Yeah, stop drinking Coke.
That's what they say.
She's drinking.
They always tell me that.
Hey, whatever. This is Diet Coke, and this was probably from way before that. But anyway, I have to go get this stupid crown put on. Not this kind of crown, this kind of crown. So.
It's the wrong kind of crown.
Anyway, thank y'all again so much. And I hope to see you all very, very soon. Hope this is over and done with as soon as possible.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you, friend. Thanks so much for spending time with
y'all.
us.
Bye, Sonny. Good to see you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Randy.
Thanks so much for tuning in to The Moment You Made It. Got a question, comment, or great idea for an upcoming guest? Let us know. Shoot us a note at hello@momentyoumadeit.com. That's hello@momentyoumadeit.com. Thanks for tuning in, and see y'all next week.